Secretary of Treasury.
Secretary of Treasury.
Deals with money.
Deals with money.
Secretary. Hi, and welcome back to Mr. Raymond's Civics EOC Academy, where today we will continue our test prep for the big Civics state exam with a look at roles, rights, and responsibilities of citizenship. So what better place to start than looking at what it means to be a U.S. citizen? A citizen is a person who legally belongs to a country or state and has the rights and protections of that country. The 14th Amendment, passed after the Civil War, defines citizens as those who were either born or naturalized in the United States. And you have to remember that the 14th Amendment is the amendment that clarified for us who was a citizen. As we discussed, anyone born in the United States becomes a citizen at birth, which is called law of soil. Someone who is born in another country but has at least one parent who is a U.S. citizen also becomes a citizen at birth, which is called law of blood. And for both of these are what are known as being a natural-born citizen. For the rest of the people who want to become U.S. citizens, they have to go through the process called naturalization. You need to know the requirements of eligibility for naturalization, which I've seen on a few state practice tests. And these are that you must be 18, be a legal resident in the country for 5 years, be of, quote, good moral character, which means you don't break the law while you're in the naturalization process, and understand basic English. You also need to know the steps to naturalization, and on your exam, they might ask you to put these in order. First up, someone must get permission to live here before they fill out the naturalization application. And remember, it's 5 years minimum to live here. Next up, they have to go through a background check and get fingerprinted. Next is the interview. And after they've been here for at least 5 years, they have to pass a civics and English test, and finally take the oath of allegiance. Remember, you take the oath of allegiance last, and if your test asks you to put these in order, look for the list that has the oath of allegiance last. Next, what obligations do citizens have? Now, you have to remember the word obligations means things that you have to do as a citizen. They will sometimes use the word duty to describe these things citizens have to do, but in most practice test questions I've seen, they use the word obligations. The obligations citizens have that they must do are to obey the law, pay taxes, serve on juries, and defend the nation. These are the things that citizens must do. And your test might give you a list with 3 of these and a responsibility and ask you which is not an obligation. So let's cover our responsibilities. Responsibilities are the things that citizens should do. And this is definitely a big theme for this course, so chances are you'll be tested on these. The big responsibilities that the state wants you to know are voting, attending civic meetings, petitioning your government, and running for office. You need to remember that while these are things that everyone should do, they are not obligations or duties, just suggestions. Up next is a big one. What is in the Bill of Rights? So we spent a lot of time on these rights, so I'm going to go through them pretty quickly. If you feel like you don't know these, go back to my video on them. Amendment 1 is our 5 freedoms: speech, press, assembly, religion, and petition. The Second Amendment is the right to bear arms or own a gun. The Third Amendment stops the government from quartering soldiers in your home, something that goes back to the Declaration of Independence. The Fourth Amendment is the closest we have to a right to privacy. It protects from unreasonable search and seizure. The Fifth Amendment is about due process. It protects from double jeopardy, being charged with the same crime twice, provides the right to remain silent or not incriminate yourself. It also has the eminent domain clause where the government has to pay you for your home if they want to use it for public use. The Sixth Amendment provides a speedy trial, a lawyer and jury, the right to confront your accuser and defend yourself. The Seventh provides for a jury in civil trials. The Eighth Amendment protects from cruel and unusual punishment. The 9th says rights not listed in the Bill of Rights belong to the people. And the 10th Amendment says that powers not listed belong to the states or to the people. Okay, what other amendments do you need to know? Well, these mostly have to do with voting rights and extending the political process to minorities. The 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments are known as the Civil War Amendments. These were about helping the newly freed slaves after the Civil War. The 13th abolished slavery. The 14th established who was a citizen and provides equal protection under the law. And this is a very important amendment used to fight any type of inequality in our country. And the 15th Amendment gave the right to vote to African American men or men of any color. The 19th Amendment gave the right to vote to women, and very often they use this word suffrage. Remember, suffrage means the right to vote. The 24th Amendment abolished poll taxes. This was the money charged to vote, mostly directed at African Americans in the South. And the 26th Amendment lowered the voting age from 21 to 18. This took place during the Vietnam War. What landmark Supreme Court cases do you need to know? So you need to know the basics for these, and especially the impact that they had on the country. The first one is Marbury versus Madison, and you need to know that this gave the Supreme Court and federal courts the power of judicial review. This is the power to declare a law unconstitutional. This is almost guaranteed to be a question on your state exam, as this is the big check in our checks and balances for the judicial branch. Next up are 14th Amendment cases using that equal protection under the law clause that we just discussed. First is Plessy versus Ferguson, a terrible case. This was the case about an African American man who was on a train and arrested for sitting in the white section. You have to remember that Plessy lost, and that the outcome of this case, which is known as separate but equal, in which the South could segregate by race if they provided, quote, equal accommodations. But they didn't. It took Brown versus the Board of Education to basically start the beginning of the end for segregation, as it outlawed the practice of segregation in our public schools, and it opened the door for further court challenges on the segregation policy, especially in the South. The next cases are about the rights of the accused, starting with Gideon versus Wainwright. Gideon couldn't afford a lawyer, and this established the rule that no matter where the trial was, the state had to provide counsel or a lawyer for those who couldn't afford it. This was a violation of the Sixth Amendment. Miranda versus Arizona established the rule that the accused had to be notified of their right to remain silent, the Fifth Amendment, and their right to a lawyer, the Sixth Amendment. In re Galt established that juveniles or kids had due process rights to a lawyer and to put up a defense, basically that kids or juveniles had the same constitutional rights that adults have. Our next cases are free speech cases or First Amendment cases. Tinker versus Des Moines stated that kids had free speech in school, and that speech included more than just words. It is the right to express yourself through clothing and art. However, Hazelwood versus Kohlmeyer, a case about a student newspaper, ruled in favor of the school to limit that freedom of expression if it disrupts the learning environment. Finally, we have cases of the court getting involved with the executive branch. United States versus Nixon taught us that even the president isn't above the law, aka rule of law, as President Nixon found out when his agents broke into the Democratic headquarters at the Watergate Hotel. In Bush versus Gore, a divided Supreme Court stepped in during the 2000 election when Florida had trouble determining a winner in this historically close presidential contest. Again, this was a quick overview of these cases, and you're likely to be tested on a few of these, so if you want to learn more about them, check out our video on our YouTube channel. And that is the end of part 2, so you're halfway there to acing your big exam. Just a reminder, teachers, that this PowerPoint with practice tests and other activities are available at Teachers Pay Teachers. Just search for Mr. Raymond Civics EOC Academy. Up next, we're going to be covering the government and politics, so be sure to subscribe, and thanks for watching.